Welcome back, everyone. This week, we are following up on what has got to be one of the most talked about tech stories of the year so far, the accidental source code leak of Anthropic's Claude Code. Now, if you haven't heard about this yet, here's the quick version. Based on reports across the web, Anthropic pushed what looked like a completely routine NPM update and accidentally bundled in a 59.8 megabyte source map file, a debugging artifact. Something that was absolutely never meant to ship publicly, and that one oversight reportedly exposed over 512,000 lines of their proprietary TypeScript code. 500,000 lines. Just out there. Anthropic confirmed it quickly. Packaging mistake, human error, no customer data involved. So to be clear, this wasn't a hack. Nobody broke in. It was just a config file, one missed line. Now here's where it gets interesting. As developers started digging into the code, three things stood out to me. First, and this is the fun one, based on technical breakdowns circulating across the community, the code base has an actual frustration detection system. And you'd think, okay, Anthropic, fancy AI company, they probably built some sophisticated sentiment model for this, right? Nope. It's regex, a plain list of regex patterns watching for when you start swearing at your terminal. An LLM company using regex for sentiment analysis. I mean, honestly, respect. It's faster, it's cheaper, and it works. That's just good engineering. Oh, and apparently, according to the same community analyses, they also found something called Buddy, a Tamagotchi-style virtual pet, built right inside the terminal. Now, worth noting, based on a date string found inside the code, this one was almost certainly planned as an April Fool's surprise, not a permanent feature. But someone at Anthropic sat down and built a terminal pet with 18 species, rarity tiers, and RPG stats like debugging and snark. And I kind of love that. Okay, but it wasn't all fun discoveries. The community also uncovered some mechanisms that sparked a lot more debate. First, there's what's being called an anti-distillation feature. Based on developer analysis of the leaked code, this injects fake tool definitions into API traffic, essentially poisoning the data stream for any competitor trying to copy Claude's behavior by harvesting its outputs. That's a pretty deliberate defensive move. Then there's Undercover Mode. Now, this one got a lot of headlines, and I want to be careful here because context really matters. According to developer analysis of the leaked source, this mode is strictly gated to Anthropic employees only. Regular users cannot activate it. In public builds, the entire function is dead code eliminated, meaning it literally doesn't exist in the version you and I use. Its primary purpose, per those analyses, appears to be preventing internal code names and Slack channel names from leaking into public open source commits when Anthropic staff are contributing externally. But, as part of that broader instruction, it does also explicitly hide the fact that the contributor is an AI. That's the part the community landed on, and it's a fair conversation to have. And then, the roadmap stuff. This is where it gets really interesting for me personally. Per developer analysis of the codebase, there are references to something called KAIROS, an unreleased, always-on background agent. Instead of waiting for your commands, it runs proactively. It maintains append-only daily logs, operates within a strict 15-second blocking budget so it never interrupts your active work, and according to community analysis, it even sends phone notifications. And alongside that, something called UltraPlan, a system that reportedly offloads heavy planning tasks to cloud infrastructure with up to a 30-minute thinking window. 30 minutes of uninterrupted cloud-based planning. According to multiple analyses, these weren't just ideas in a doc somewhere. These were built features sitting behind feature flags, ready, waiting. But honestly, the engineering find that got me most, according to technical breakdowns of the leaked source, developers found an internal comment inside a file called autocompact.ts, dated March 10th, 2026, documenting that failing sessions were burning through approximately 250,000 API calls per day globally, every single day. 250,000 wasted API calls, sitting there, documented internally, and the fix was 3 lines of code, just capping how many times the system would keep retrying failed sessions. That one hit different. Now, here's where the story really takes off. The community didn't just read the code, they rebuilt it almost immediately. According to GitHub repository data, a clean room rewrite called Claude Code appeared within hours of the leak, rebuilt from scratch, first in Python, then ported to Rust, using AI workflow tools specifically to avoid direct copyright exposure. And the response? Reports indicate it hit 50,000 stars in approximately 2 hours, then crossed 100,000 by the following day. According to multiple sources, that makes it the fastest growing repository in GitHub's entire history, surpassing at that point even Anthropic's own Claude Code repository, which sat at around 97,600 stars. Let that sink in. The open source clone outstarred the original overnight. Okay, so what do I actually think about all of this? The irony here is just hard to ignore. Anthropic reportedly built Undercover Mode, a system specifically designed to prevent internal information from leaking through AI-generated output. And then a missed config file did what the AI couldn't, exposed everything anyway. It's the ultimate reminder that no matter how advanced the models get, the fundamentals of software engineering still matter just as much. Sometimes the final boss is a missing line in npm ignore. And finding out they detect developer frustration with a regex instead of some expensive inference call, that might genuinely be the most relatable thing I've seen from a big AI lab in a long time. Now, looking ahead, what does this actually mean for Claude Code? Honestly, I think this puts real pressure on Anthropic to move faster. According to community analysis, the architecture behind KAIROS and Ultraplan is now broadly understood. Open source clones are already racing toward those same patterns. The quiet beta runway is gone. They're going to have to ship these features, and ship them well, to stay ahead of what's coming. But, and this is the part I keep coming back to, the architecture was never really the moat. What nobody can easily replicate is the model quality, the enterprise trust, the years of production-grade reliability. You can copy the plumbing, but building the intelligence that runs through it, that's a completely different mountain. So that's the story. I find it fascinating, not because Anthropic stumbled, but because of what it accidentally revealed about where this whole space is heading. Always-on agents, background orchestration, 30-minute cloud planning sessions. This is the near future of developer tooling, and now everyone can see it. Do you think open source clones can actually close the gap now that the blueprint is out there? And honestly, are you excited or a little unsettled by the idea of an always-on agent running quietly in the background of your workflow? I really want to hear your take. Drop it in the comments. And as always, double check your release configurations. Catch you in the next one.